pleasant Saturday to you. Welcome to Lone Star Park at Grand Prairie. I'm Jim Byers alongside Railbird Rodney Nelson. What a beautiful night it is for night 2 of the quarter horse meeting. Beautiful conditions, the humidity down, the wind's out of the north. We might see some fast times today. We've got a bit of a tailwind and a fast track. Last night, not the greatest night for us picking winners. 2 favorites, 1 out of 10, but that means good win payoffs.
Right.
And a couple of our picks, or some of our picks still ran well, just didn't get the W, but we'll see how it turns out tonight. Competitive racing tonight.
Yeah, it should be some good races tonight. We got the Dr. Glenn Blodgett Stakes, a couple trials for the Cox Ranch Distaff Challenge. So some good horses are going to be out here on the track tonight. A lot of opportunities to make some money, which is why I head to the track every day. So let's get right on into it, man.
$870 for the first race. It's an allowance event, 3-year-olds and up. Non-winners of 2 races lifetime or non-winners of a race other than a maiden or a claiming event. Scratch the also eligible number 9, Fast as Fire. That leaves 8 in here. And it got some interesting contention in this one. We're both going with the 6, Good Friend. This horse sitting on what could be a really nice second off a layoff try.
Right, and that's an angle that I love, is second off that layoff. And even the comeback race was a decent one. I mean, led it from gate to wire. That was at 550 yards over at Ruidoso after the horse had been off since November of the year before. But that November race, the last one before the horse took a break, was 870. The first time that this horse had moved out to go 870 yards, ran a solid one that day, missing by a neck. I like that the horses had that one start coming back, and that was a win at a longer distance. So I'm going to go around the turn again and see what Good Friend could do, but that's my top choice here. Second one I picked was GBH Fiscal Tony. That's the number 2 horse. This is a horse that tried 870 last time out for the first time. That was at the Gillespie County Fairgrounds. Finished 5th in that race, but, if you look, this horse had a couple good races at Delta Downs earlier this year at some decent distances, so we'll see if maybe the second time at 870 doesn't improve GBH Fiscal Tony. And then I got the number 1, Howdy Bach, as my third choice. A winner last time out. I love horses that win, so we'll see what this one can do. It's also great that win came at this 870-yard distance.
Yeah, and came from the inside. Howdy Bach had the 2-hole last time. He's got the rail today. He faced front-end pressure last time and still drew off to win. Now, it was a non-winners of 2 claiming event, but he is one of these horses in here that has won more than one race in his career. Plus, John Bogner, the trainer, wins a lot of hook races with horses by his stallion, Bachnai. So, this horse certainly merits a lot of consideration, but I thought Good Friend's race at Ruidoso was just a little more visually appealing. Plus, he does have that 870 race last fall to go by. And it's interesting, too, that Clint Crawford, who has a big division up at Will Rogers and has a lot of horses in their futurity trials coming up this week, elects to run this horse here. Now, Crawford's no stranger to Lone Star, but maybe there wasn't a race in the early going for this horse up at Will Rogers. It's interesting that he has him here. Of course, the owners, Randy and Sandy Coleman, are Texans. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Lubbock, though, it's kind of far away.
That is. It's not exactly, just hop in the car and head on over. I mean, you can hop in the car, but it's a long drive. Race 2, start of the early pick 4. We have an early and a late pick 4 now during this quarter horse session. 350 yards, an allowance event here. These are 2-year-olds that have not won 2 races. One but medication note. The Bees D by the promising stallion Uncle D is first-time Lasix today.
All right, so, I thought this race was a toss-up between the 1 and the 2. You went one way, I went the other way. I took the 2 Sweetser here in this spot. This horse was in the big trials out in New Mexico this year. Did pretty good in the one for the Ruidoso Futurity, won that trial race by a length and a quarter. The other 2, kind of lackluster, but I think that Sweetser can, moving down here into Texas in this allowance race, I think is going to find a little bit easier competition other than the number 1, my second choice, Sintach's Candy, who was also in the trials in New Mexico as well. So I thought it was a toss-up between those 2. You mentioned the Bees D's being on Lasix for the first time tonight. I didn't have that in here. It makes me like that horse a little bit more now. That's my third choice. I went back and watched some replays of the Bees D's. I thought this horse looked fairly solid in some of those races. The 1-2 back where she was able to win that race at 330 yards, put in a good effort that day. Even the most recent race, you see a sixth-place finish there, but it wasn't like the horse was well back. I mean, she was up there. She was in contention for a while, it looked like, right there, ready to strike. That six could have been a fourth fairly easily. But I think the Bees D, 15-1 morning line odds, if you're looking for a horse to round out that trifecta with some decent odds, this might be one to take a look at.
A lot of interesting stallions in here, and I'm not promoting one stallion over another, but Uncle D, who was a really nice racehorse not too many years ago, has proven to send out some 2-year-olds that have been really running. I lean towards Sintacha's Candy, but this is one of these races. We see a lot of them here. You get horses that come out of New Mexico after all the big trials, and then they step in against, either Maiden Company or, in this case, Allowance Company, because the 1 and the 2 have both broken their maidens. And it does seem to be a pretty considerable class drop. So I think these two do stand out. I lean toward the 1 only because some of the competition he faced a couple of next out winners, one of whom, Heart of Gold, did make the All-American Juvenile, which is a really tough race to make, ran 6th in there. And then Sassy Angel, another horse that he faced in the trials up there, returned to win an allowance race at Ruidoso. So I lean toward that a little bit. Not crazy about the rail, but we did have a couple of horses run really well on the rail yesterday, including my pick in the last race, who just came up a little bit short at the end. But the rail, horses did well from all parts of the track last night, which was good to see because it's holding a little water last night. Race 3. Now, these are time trials for the Cox Ranch Distaff. That's a Grade 1 race in the fall on AQHA Bank of America Championships night, and you have to qualify to get on that night of racing, and you can do it. The winner of this race will get an automatic berth, not the winner of this race, but the winner of the Cox Ranch Lone Star Distaff Challenge in a couple of weeks will get a bid to that race. These are the trials for that. Really good fillies and mares.
Yeah, and, we have the winner of last year's Distaff Challenge Championship in this one in Vitality.
Was right here.
Yeah, which was right here. I didn't pick Vitality on top. It's my third choice, but I want to talk about number 7, Miracle Be Knockout. That's the horse that I picked in this one. This horse was the winner of the Retama Derby last time out. Had some wins, a couple seconds mixed in there as well for the rest of the year. The question mark is, Miracle Be Knockout. Is this horse going to like 400 yards? Never run this far. Seems to be in some of those other races. Other horses were gaining on this horse toward the finish line. So I don't know, but kind of a question mark. But I like that Retama Derby win. It's always nice to see a Derby win, especially the most recent race. Juan Diaz Jr., there's no doubt that he sends out some winners out here as well. I got the 7 here. Number 4, Curl's Joyful Wagon is going to be my second choice. This horse was a winner last time out as well. Did that by half a length. Ran in a Grade 1 the race before that at Remington Park back at the 1st of June. Ran second in that one, missed just by half a length there. So Curl's Joyful Wagon, those last 2 races have been pretty solid for her. I'm going to go ahead and take her second. And then Vitality, the 6. Like I said, this was the winner of the Distaff Challenge Championship last year right here at Lone Star Park. So far in 2024, his horse has run 3 different times. Best finish was a 3rd place. That was last time out at the Downs at Albuquerque. Went 400 yards that day. So Vitality, if you look 400 yards, has 3 wins from 7 tries, a 2nd and a 3rd as well. Curl's Joyful Wagon, my second choice, has a good record at the distance too. Only one that doesn't is Miracle Be Knockout. So let's see what happens. But I got it 7-4-6 here in this first trial of the night.
Miracle Be Knockout is interesting because she started with Robbie Mesh, a good trainer. Now is with Juan Diaz, and this filly has done better with Diaz than I think she did with Robbie Mesh, even though she's very consistent. She is a 3-year-old taking on some pretty good older mares, and I don't know if that makes a lot of difference in September. And in this sport, it's just test of speed after all. Miracle Be Knockout, if all goes well, should be in front early on. It's just a matter of can she hold off some really experienced and good older mares. I went with Vitality just because she so much likes this track. And since James J. Gonzalez took the blinkers off of her following the Dr. Glenn Blodgett Stakes last year. She became almost unbeatable here. I mean, 2 wins and a second without the blinkers. She does still wear a big white hood, so it might look like she's still wearing blinkers, but she doesn't. It's just a hood. This year she hasn't been as good as you mentioned, but she still hasn't been bad. I think getting back here might help her. So I'm going to stick with her. Curl's Joyful Wagon is out of a multiple graded stakes winner, and Aya Spit Curl Girl is a full sister to a multiple graded winner, and Curl's Happy Wagon. Curl's Joyful Wagon isn't quite as good as her sister, but very, very good. So that's a really good race. And Bossa Nova, my 4th pick, James Lackey pointed out that he used to train her as a 2-year-old. Her dam, J Fire Up, was an absolute monster runner just a few years ago. And if memory serves, I think she was one of G.R. Carter's last rides, if I'm remembering right. Might be remembering that wrong, however. Second of 2 trials for the Cox Ranch Distaff, 400 yards. To me, is an interesting matchup between the 4 and the 6. And every time I say that, I peek up and see that you didn't pick either one of them. You're going to get a little price, I think, on Tiffany Twisted, recognizing the fact that Toby Keaton the other day just won a whole bunch of the sport's biggest races in one day at Ruidoso, and had a great meet over there. But, boy, you're going to get a price on this 7.
I'll tell you, you talked the 7 up, but look at that. Just as you said it, bam, my pick changed, right, to the 6. That's where I was, so that's what I got written down here.
Okay.
So it could have been a typo when I said it downstairs, but Helen got it corrected, so thank you for that. But, you made a case for Tiffany Twisted. Talking about Toby Keaton.
She's not bad.
Yeah, looking at it, 15 to 1 now.
You'll get a square price on her, and you get great connections. And but yeah, I think Just Kissing Bo and First Time for Wine, really stick out.
Yeah, First Time for Wine. I had trouble picking between these two. I mean, if you look at it in the Miss for Thomas Stakes, they ran against each other, separated by a nose, 1-2, right? Yeah. I went with First Time for Wine, the second place runner in that Miss for Thomas Stakes. She won the Miss Sam Houston, the race before that. So, this summer, June and July, put together 2 bang-up stakes races. Ran a good one at Remington Park earlier this year. I think there's a lot to like about First Time for Wine, but, Just Kissing Bo, like I said, this was the winner of the Miss Rotama Stakes. So, just like in that last trial, I picked the winner of the Rotama Derby. So, I'm looking for...
You like Rotama?
You know what? They had a good meet this year. I loved watching the races. I think there was a lot of excitement down there, had some good horses. But, I got it 6-4, and then my third place is going to be number 3, AJ Brazilian Gift. If you look back, this horse has won 2 out of the last 4 races. Now, those 2 wins... They came last year, but they were both right here at Lone Star Park. So something the horse might like to track. But 12 to 1. You got to find a third horse to play those trifectas. Why not put this one in there? But Tiffany Twisted, you talking about that horse, and you never know. You might want to throw that one in. I got R-Fire Spirit third. I've loved R-Fire Spirit.
Especially when she was with Rolando Almanza.
But, now she's got Zach Steinbo. I saw her in the paddock yesterday schooling last night. She looked good. I asked Zach about her and said, you know what, this horse might be able to run a little bit.
Yeah.
So
she's always shown flashes of talent.
One of her best races was in a Texas Classic trial, I think, 2 years ago. And we'll see what happens. But 6, 4, and 3 is how I see it here in this one.
Just Kissing Bo has only started a couple of times since 2022. Both of those came this year for Juan Diaz. She really had a nice bid late after a really sluggish start last time and a poor start the time before, and it really worries me to pick up a mare that's broken bad twice in a row. And Juan Diaz had bad luck yesterday. I picked him in back-to-back races, and one start was worse than the next. Neither of his horses had any chance because of stumbling, bumping, braking slow, whatever you might want to say out of the gate. But I think Just Kissing Bo, who did narrowly defeat the 6 last time out, although the 6 was the 6-5 favorite in that race, and I think First Time for Wine has a little bit better overall body of work. I just went with Just Kissing Bo off that closing effort last time out. The start is a big question. AJ Brazilian Gift, that was a really loaded field. You know, Curl's Joyful Wagon, who was in that very previous race that we were talking about, was the winner of her last start at Ruidoso. Cartel and Sass and Rock Candy D something. Those mares are really good. So A.J. Brazilian Gifts coming out of an excellent race for a barn that wins a ton of races. Race 5. Race 5 begins the pick 6 and a little carryover of $182 in tonight's pick 6 on night 2 of the meet. Dr. Glenn Blodgett Stakes, restricted grade 3. These are Texas breds. They'll go $350. Two big Steinbows. This is kind of the battle of the Steinbow barn. And, hey, we're actually on the same 2 here.
We're on the same 2 here. He's a Jet 1 to 6, top choice. This horse loves it out here at Lone Star Park. 3 wins out of 4 tries. Coming in here is fresh off a stakes win at Retama Park last time out. I think there's a lot to like about it. He's a Jet 1. Second choice, Jess the Leader, the 4. Another one that's been competing in a whole bunch of stakes races. Has a good record out here as well. 4 wins from 9 outs. This year hasn't been the best for Jess the Leader. I mean, only has a third-place finish out of 4 starts. But this horse is definitely good enough to compete here. Then I got the number 1, You Look Famous, as my third choice here. This horse was in the TQHA 250 stakes last time out, finished 3rd in that one. Not bad at all. The comment said broke in and bumped. Hey, you figure if this horse would have not had that happen, could have done a lot better. This is the second race after a layoff. I talked earlier, I love that angle. This could be one to get up there and finish in the mix, but give me at 6-4 as my top 2.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's kind of a toss-up between those 2. I mean, certainly Ali Rivera, I think it's fair to say, is probably the Steinbow barn's top call rider, but Oscar Andrade Jr. rides a ton for Steinbow as well, who has a very big operation. So there's not much to go by there. The better recent form, I think, belongs to the 6. And, EC Jet 1, the stallion, he gets some fast horses.
He's got some
2
good
winners
ones
last night. And this horse, I just remember his allowance win here on September 23rd of last year. I mean, he was so strong in that one, and then he came back and won a Texas Classic Derby trial and made the Derby after that. So he's going to be tough to beat. The mare Pink Kiss is interesting to me. Coming off the bench from last fall here for Juan Diaz, if his horses start getting out of the gate a little bit better, he's going to be one of the contenders, if not the strong favorite to be the leading trainer here this meet. Race 6. Pick 5 begins here. Carry over of $477. Scratch the 2 also eligibles, the 11 and 12. Let me take a look at the picks. Yeah. Dominant top 2 in here, I think, between the 9 and the 4. The 9 is odds on the morning line, so.
Yeah, I thought there was 2 horses that stood out. The rest of them was like rolling dice for me to find out with a couple other ones. But I went with the chalk. Let's go Chanto. 2 seconds out of 3 starts. I mean, last time out, this horse came close to winning, missed by a head. He was in for the $15,000 tag, so basically cutting that price in half today. Juan Diaz is going to heat up. I mean, it's only been 1 day, right?
Right. He only had 2 wins.
He might pull off 4 wins by the time we get to race 6 tonight. But let's go Chanto. I think this is a good horse to look at. Second choice was I Tell You She's Fast. Very creative name there to come up with that.
Good spelling, too.
I love it. But much like Let's Go Chanto, I mean, out of 3 races, this horse has finished second in 2 of those 3 races. Just not as big a races. Let's Go Chanto is in for a higher claiming price. I'll take that. $15,000 over the $5,000. But I think I Tell You She's Fast is going to have a pretty good run tonight. If you're looking to beat that chalk, go with the 4. At 3 to 5. I might go a different way when it comes to the wagering and take the 4 instead, but I do think the 9 has a good shot to win this 6 race here.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only one that's really done any serious contending, and it's been a little bit higher levels than this. He has disappointed at 9 to 5 in even money in his last 2 starts, but they were against better, so it would be a considerable upset for him not to win. Race 7, Texas-bred 2-year-old fillies. These are maidens, 330 yards. Take out both the 11 and 12, the also eligibles.
Yeah, so I'm on the 2, 8-1 shot here. Go Eagle Be Famous. That's going to be my top choice. 2 starts for this horse. The last one was pretty decent. Pretty much got out there in front. Ended up second when it was all said and done, missing by a head. That was at 250 yards. Race before that, a third at 300. So we're going 330 tonight. Let's see what happens with Go Eagle Be Famous, but I think at 8-1, this might be a decent play. Second choice is the number 5, first-time starter, La Cholula. What I like about this horse is the stallion, Chelitos. Chelitos was a Dash for Cash winner out here.
We used to love watching Chelitos.
I used to love watching that horse. So, the progeny of that stallion coming out here, first-time starter in a field like this that, not many of them haven't shown much at all.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and roll the dice and, take 2 at pretty decent odds for my top 2 choices here. And then I got the 8 Knockout as my third choice. This horse has some respectable finishes. A 4th last time, 2nd missing by a head before that, a 4th before that. I got Knockout pick 3rd.
Yeah, I went with Knockout 2nd. I went for the chalk here. Pura Calidad, pure quality. We'll see about that, but as far as, she ran 1 race in the TQHA Sale Futurity, completely outrun at 19-1. Came back in a much more realistic spot. Texas-bred maiden claimers, or at least Texas-bred maidens, I should say, at Gillespie. Not maiden claimers, just maidens. And ran much better. Improved her E-speed figure a great deal from 49 to 73. She was well clear of the 3rd place finisher. So I'm going to go with her here. Not my most confident pick, and she's liable to be a really short price on the line because Rick's original line had Blasted Eagle, the also eligible, at 4 to 5. So you take those points out of the line, and Pura Calidad might end up being even money in here. Who knows? But I agree on La Cholula. I took her 3rd. I mean, in a race like this, you might as well because, none of them have really had the chance to show a whole lot yet. I think there's a really wide-open 8th race. 3-year-olds and up allowance event. They're non-winners of 2. They're going 350. Take out the 11 and 12 in this one, and this one, I think, is quite wide open.
Well, I don't know if I see it the same way there. I got the low ones here. I got number 1, Forgiven Cowboy, top choice. This horse was a winner last time out. Broke its maiden by a nose last time in the Derby trial at Ruidoso before that. I mean, ran fairly well, was behind by 2, but Flying Rabbit 1, 2, 3, the winner of that one, went on to win next time out. Horses trained by Trey Wood, the ones he sends here always seem to have a shot. I got the number 1 on top. Far outside, Dawson Leggett is going to be my second choice. This horse was a 3rd place finisher last time in a non-winners of 2 allowance race at Retamo Park. Just missed by a length. The race before that was a half-length winner at Delta Downs. If you look back to this winner, this horse was running at Los Al. Not cleaning up the track, but, 2nd in the trial out there. So I think the 10 could run pretty good from the outside. And then I got Famous Trace, the 9, as my 3rd choice coming in off that 2nd place finish last time out. That was the first race back for a layoff. So number 2 after a layoff, we'll see what happens with the 9. I got it 110-9 here in the 8th.
Yeah, I'm 110-9 as well. In fact, Rick Lee is 110-7. So I wrote wide open at the top of my PPs, and the morning line favorite is just 3 to 1.
Yeah.
And yet we all picked the 1. So we're all seeing it pretty much the same way. I do think that the 1, Forgiven Cowboy, has been in some Derby and Futurity trials and some good maiden races, comes out of a good race in July, comes from winning connections. Leonel Hernandez is going to win some races as well on the outside there with Dawson Leggett, the former Heath Taylor runner from earlier in his career. Good race. I'm not quite as convinced. We're all picking the 1. I'm not quite as
that didn't convince you that much.
As big a cinch as we're all picking them, but we'll see. Race 9, 250. So we shorten them up here. Allowance event, 3-year-olds and up. This is the Weatherford Dash. This is one of these wide-open allowance races where pretty much anything goes, top earnings preferred. Scratch the morning line favorite, the 8 RG's Gold Wagon, who I was picking against. I'm a huge LS Jack's back fan. In fact, one of the horses that he beat, Tempted, who I picked last night, ran super on this racetrack last night, if that means anything. But anyway, you're going with Tempting Alibi, though, for Jose Sanchez.
Yeah, I wanted to make it a little interesting. I remember you saying last night you liked LS Jack's back, so I said, well, I got to pick against Jim today. But Tempting Alibi, this isn't a bad horse to land on, right? Was the winner of the TQHA 250 stakes last time out. Of course, we're going 250 yards here once again. Race before that, another stakes race at Retama, finishing 2nd by a length to a next out winner as well. You look before that, this horse was a neck. in front, a neck behind, a head in front. So, I mean, this horse is always right there toward the finish line in some decent races. Give me Tempting Alibi on top. LS Jack's Back's my second choice. And then I got the 2 Wagon High as my third selection here. 20-1 on the line. This horse was a winner last time out. We'll see if that translates into a good run here once again.
Yeah, I just like LS Jack's Back because I've kind of enjoyed his whole body of work. I think he's always been very tough. He can go short. He won at 250 last year in a field at Retama that included a graded stakes placed runner-up, Kaz Debut GL, and a grade 2 and a grade 3 winner in Delight Interest, the third place finisher. So that was a really good allowance field. And this horse won an open grade 2, the Bob Moore at Remington back in the spring. Those are tough races. Those open graded races during a Remington spring meet, even though it's early in the year, those are tough. So I'm going to give him the chance here in that really good sprint. 10th and final, maiden, 3 to 5 year olds. They're going 3:30. Scratch the 2 also eligibles out of here.
Yeah, so I ended up on number 7, ADH Rafina. Only one start for this filly. I went and watched the video, and, the start was not, very good at all. It says broke in. She kind of hopped out and not really in the air, but she had her front 2 feet off the ground, it looked like. Ducked to the inside, but still put in a good run. Ended up third in that race. I think this horse can have a lot of improvement from last race to this race. I got the 8-pick second. That's Cartel Angel. This is a decent horse as well. A couple of consecutive second-place finishes coming from Retama Park. And then I got the 4 WF Wheelie Cold as my third selection. Another one that was close up last time out in the maiden race, missing by a length. Had some respectable fourth-place finishes before that. So I got it 7-8-4 here in the nightcap.
All right. So you are 7-8-4. I'm 4-7-6-3. There we go. In the last, I'm going with the favorite here, WF Wheelie Cold. I don't know. I mean, Juvenal Licona Vasquez already has a win on the year and does a really nice job. This horse has been with him this year. Has been a money burner his last couple of races, under 2-1. Failed to win both of those, but this might be the night. This might be the field. I don't think this is necessarily the most loaded maiden special weight field we're going to run this year for 3-year-olds and up. To me, ADH Rafina has a big shot. So does Ethan's Timber Game. This horse got elevated from 4th to 3rd, but it wasn't because of any kind of foul on the racetrack. It was a post-race thing. The charter at Gillespie said promising debut. I mean, ran 4th, but, that could have been a pretty good maiden field. So I think those 2 young ones, or the 2 less experienced horses, the 7 and the 6, could challenge the 4, but I just thought overall the 4's run enough good races to merit the top pick. But that's for a short price, that might be a horse you try to beat.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for our portion of our analysis. We got 10 races coming up on a beautiful night here at Lone Star Park. Don't forget, racing resumes this week. Coming up on Thursday, we'll start our regular Thursday to Saturday schedule. We've got Dash for Cash Derby trials on Friday. We've got 13 Dash for Cash Futurity trials starting at the regular 6:05 on Saturday, a week from today. So we'll be going till almost midnight.
That's all right. It's fun.
I'm off caffeine.
Let's run all night long.
Exactly. I'm off caffeine, but I'll have to bring an extra Gatorade Zero for that 13-race card. Nonetheless, thanks for joining us tonight, and good luck here at Lone Star Park.